A very good morning to you and welcome to the Morning Outlook Report. I'm Rachel Jones reporting live from Kalkine TV Sydney studios. Now, the Australian share market's expected to open flat this morning. That's according to the latest SPI futures. The ASX 200 is likely to open 18 points or 0.25% lower. Yesterday, the Australian share market saw strong gains from miners and energy stocks. At the closing bell, the S&P ASX 200 was 0.8% or 58 points up at 7,411. Across the sectors, 8 out of 11 of the sectors closed in the green. Energy dominated as the best performer. They were up 2.5%, followed by materials up 2.3%. Meanwhile, technology tumbled 3.5%, followed by communication services. Major iron ore miners led the market yesterday, and that was on high iron ore prices. Fortescue Metals soared 9.8% as the best performing stock yesterday. Rio Tinto closed 3.6% higher, and Mineral Resources closed 4.9% higher. Now, looking at some local business news from this morning, Webjet today reported that the first half of 2022 financial year saw the company start to turn around, delivering a cash surplus of $3.5 million per month compared to a $5.5 million average monthly cash burn in financial year 2021. Total transaction volumes, revenue and EBITDA were all up compared to the previous comparable period, and that reflects the gradual reopening of global travel markets. Expenses were down materially compared to pre-COVID levels, reflecting the strategic initiatives that the company put underway to deliver 20% greater cost efficiencies at scale. And NIB Holdings has taken a 50% equity stake in Australian digital health startup called Midnight Health, for a total consideration of $4 million. The partnership with Midnight Health is another step in delivering personalised health treatment packages in the broader healthcare market. And Mesoblast recorded a loss of $22.84 million for the September quarter. Net cash operating usage was $19.6 million for the quarter. That was a reduction of $8.6 million on the comparative quarter. Revenues from Tencel royalties in Japan were $2.4 million. That was an increase of 22% on the previous quarter and 90% on the comparative quarter last year. And Propel Funeral Partners has executed binding conditional sale agreements to acquire 3 funeral businesses for around $6.9 million. The proposed transactions are Carol and Terry Crawford Funerals, which has been operating in and around Geelong for over 20 years, Eagers Funerals, which has been operating in and around New Plymouth for over 60 years, and McKee Funerals, which has been operating in Perth for over 20 years. Together, the businesses perform approximately 500 funeral and funeral-related services each year, with a generated revenue of approximately $3.4 million. Well, now it's time for a very short break, but stay tuned for more news set to affect the trading day.
Tune in to stay updated while on the move.
We will tell you where the crypto craze has reached,
Where the property market is headed next.
what the world is doing to become more environmentally friendly.
Apart from tracking the daily market charter.
Be on top of the latest news and announcements
With Kalkine TV.
Welcome back to the Morning Outlook Report. I'm Rachel Jones and you're watching Kalkine TV. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones was up 0.5%. The S&P 500 was down 0.1% and the Nasdaq was down 0.9%. Now, Wall Street shares were trading lower as investors positioned for interest rate hikes in 2022 after Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell was nominated for a second term. The Pan-European Stock 600 shed 1.3%. Germany's DAX fell more than 1%, while Britain's FTSE 100 advanced 0.15%. New concerns about the spread of COVID-19 added to the gloomy mood in Europe. Oil prices climbed despite the US announcing it will release oil from reserves to control rising energy prices. Brent crude was up 3.44% at $82.44 a barrel. WTI rose 2.64% to $76.78 per barrel. Gold prices hit a 3-week low, and that's after interest rate hike bets increased. Spot gold fell 0.9% to $1,788 per ounce. US gold futures settled down 1.3% at $1,783.80. Meanwhile, the most actively traded iron ore futures on the Dalian Commodity Exchange for January delivery soared as much as 9.9% in the morning session. Now that's the biggest percentage gain since the 30th of September. And finally, Bitcoin was trading near $57,600. And that's all for our Morning Outlook report here on Kalkine TV. Have a great day trading and stay tuned for more market updates and economic news live throughout the day. I'm Rachel, signing off for now.